Let's read a book. Ah! Just before mid-morning, when it became clear that I was going to arrive in Nyland, at least close to on time, my stomach began to protest. After passing through Enstrom, I had also passed by Clarion and a place called Sigil. Despite the elegantly lettered sign, I had never heard of Sigil, and that meant it couldn't amount to much. Though I strained my eyes to the north of the high road, and while I could sense that a few houses lay in that direction, I had been able to see nothing. Beyond Sigil, the road grew less traveled and slightly more dusty. The sun continued to beat down on the dust and on me. Ahead, a blur appeared on the right side of the road. Even before I could see it clearly, I recognized it for a wayfaring station. A wayfaring station on the way to one of the main ports of Reclcuce? Few citizens of Reclcuce traveled that much, and the masters allow even fewer outside traders upon the isle. They always seem to know when strangers land on the open south beaches and sneak through the fjords punctuating the mountainous north coast. The mountains form a shield against the worst of the winter storms, but they also trap the warm and damp winds from the north, which is why the highlands are so damp, almost a jungle in places. The traders who have leave to travel Reclcuce are seldom young, and they always say little. Usually they are buyers of art, pottery, or other crafts. Sometimes they sell the southern jewels, the yellow diamonds and the deep green emeralds that occur only in the far reaches of Hammer. I wondered once why everyone used the same coins, before I discovered that everyone didn't. Most countries, except for the Pantarans, use coins similar to the Hammerians, just like we did. Copper, silver, and gold pennies. They all have different writing, but the weights are the same, unless someone's clipped the coins. Why? Probably because almost everyone sells to Hammer, even the Austrians, for all their pride, use coins of the same weight. They call them different names that no one uses, even in Austria. With so few people traveling beyond a few towns, I used to ask about the high road and why it had been so grand. My father just shook his head. Uncle Sardet never answered either. As my sore feet brought me nearer to the wayfaring station, the thought of a short break became more and more welcome. The stations are all alike: tiled roof over 4 windowless walls, a door that can be barred, and a wide covered porch with stone benches. No furnishings inside, not even a hearth or chimney for a cook fire. Strictly for a quick rest or a place to wait out the bad weather. After pulling off my boots, rubbing my feet, and taking a sip of warm water from the water bottle, as I sat on the back stone bench closest to Nyland, the coolest one, I opened the provisions my father had provided. The leftover duck was still good, and as were the last 2 frick rolls. 1 plain and 1 stuffed with cherry preserves. I finished up by eating one of the 2 sour pears and saved the other. As I took the last bite of the fruit, I could feel someone approaching. So I looked to the west. Sure enough, a man was leading a horse and a covered cart. While he looked to be a trader, I took the precaution of pulling my boots back on, wincing at the blisters I was developing. After that, I replaced the provisions bag in my pack and tossed a few scraps out for the birds, out beyond the road. The staff leaned up against the bench where I couldn't reach it easily, and my pack was ready to go. I just wasn't. "Hello there," he called from the wagon post. The man was young for a trader, younger than Uncle Sardet, but with black ragged hair and a close-trimmed full beard. His short-sleeved tunic was of faded yellowish leather, as were his boots and his trousers. He had a wide brown belt on which he wore a brace of knives, shoulders broader than Uncle Sardet, and muscles to match. "Good day," I answered, politely standing. "Heading inland from Nyland?" "Couldn't be from anywhere else now, could I?" He laughed as he said it, while he tethered the horse, a dark brown gelding. And you? From the east. He finished with the animal and stepped up to the 2 stone steps. Young for a miskid to be traveling, aren't you? For some reason his tone bothered me, and I stepped back, ready to pick up the staff. Some might say that. Never seen a place like Reclcuce. Nobody travels. Not many. You're about as friendly as the rest, aren't you? Don't think much of the rest of the world, I guess. Really don't know much about it, I admitted. First one I've seen is willing to admit that there's a world off this overgrown island. I didn't say much to that. What was there to say? Strange place. The women don't look at you unless you take a bath at least 3 times a week, and they don't talk to you anyway, except to buy or sell. Those characters in black, they have everyone scared, I guess. Even the Empire doesn't mess with them. Empire? Haven't you heard of Hammer, the Empire of the East? By now the trader had put 1 foot up on the other end of the bench. He was just like all other traders, boring. He'd seen something I had not, and that made him feel better. You don't like me, boy, just like everyone else? If you want my jewels, or you want to sell something, Tira, you don't have anything worth selling, except maybe that staff. Good work there. He reached for it as if I wasn't standing there. The staff was somehow in my hands, although I didn't remember grabbing it, and I had brought it down on the back of his extended wrist. Crack! Hiss! Another darn devil spawn! He backed away, his unhurt hand on a knife. I could tell he was deciding whether to throw it, and I could feel my guts tighten. I hadn't meant to hit him, or do whatever the staff had done. The masters wouldn't like it if you did. There was a struggle to keep my words, but I managed it. Devils take your masters, he gasped, but he decided not to use the knife. He took another long look at me. I brought the staff down. It felt warm to me, as though it had been sitting in the sun or next to the fire. So you're another one of them. He was slowly backing away from me, although I had not moved. I'm nothing, yet. Darned I'll. He was next to his horse. I swung the pack onto my back and started towards the near steps, the ones closest to Nyland. You can stay, you need the rest. He watched me, but said nothing else. I could feel his eyes on me, and the hate, deep as the North River in flood, and almost as wild. But I put one sore foot in front of the other, wanting to get as far from the way station and the trader as possible. Were all traders like that, underneath, when they had thought people were helpless? And why had the staff burned his wrist? I knew woods, and some about metal. And the staff was just that, Lorcan and steel, wood and forged metal. Almost a work of art, and that was why the trader had wanted it. But no more than wood and steel, certainly. I knew some staff play, just because my father had insisted on it as an exercise. That had been years ago, before I had become Uncle Sardet's apprentice. I guess you don't forget some things, but even remember practice and fear wouldn't make a staff burn someone. Could it be that the trader was a devil? I couldn't believe that, much as the old legends spoke of devils that burned at the touch of cold iron. I shivered as I walked, despite the sunshine, the heat, and the dust. Did all the reaction of the women on the road and the trader have something to do with me? Or with the staff? But there was no magic in Reclcuce, and I was certainly no magician. I shivered again and kept walking. Thanks for watching. If you enjoyed this, please like, comment, and subscribe. Turn on notifications so you never miss out on any of these videos. See you on the next one. Goodbye.